Dark Shadows, number 98, VTR 102866, air 11966, take one.
My name is Victoria Winters. Collinwood, the great mansion I now call home, harbors many secrets. Secrets kept for years from the prying eyes of outsiders. Now a stranger is coming to Collinwood. A stranger determined to uncover those secrets and bring destruction to the Collins family.
Thank you. Matthew, I spoke to Mrs. Johnson a little while ago. She's moving in today. She ought to be here any time now.
I figured you might have changed your mind about her.
Oh, certainly not. We can use the extra help.
I told you I could do everything needs to be done around here.
You've been managing alone long enough. Besides, Mr. Malloy would want me to engage her. She was his housekeeper for years. Now that he's dead, she has nowhere to go.
She can find other work. People do.
I'm not going to discuss it, Matthew. I've engaged her, and I want you to do everything you can to make her feel welcome.
I'll try.
Thank you. Well, that must be Mrs. Johnson now. Will you please let her in?
Yes, ma'am. Come in.
Good morning, Mrs. Johnson.
Good morning, Mrs. Stoddard.
Will you come into the drawing room? Matthew, take Mrs. Johnson's luggage up to her room.
Yes, ma'am.
Please sit down, Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you.
First, let me say welcome to Collinwood.
Well, I'm happy to be working in this house with people who were so close to Mr. Malloy.
I was very fond of Mr. Malloy. I know we have that in common.
He was the finest man to walk this earth.
Now, you understand what your duties are.
Oh, you said light housekeeping and cooking.
That's right. The cleaning only involves the rooms that I showed you. It may not be necessary for you to cook all our meals, but I will expect you to prepare dinner each night. We usually dine at 8 o'clock.
I see.
Your room is third from the right at the top of the stairs. I hope you'll be comfortable.
I'm sure I will.
Now, are there any questions you'd like to ask me?
I know my duties, Mrs. Stoddard, and beyond that, I don't ask any questions.
Well, that's good to know.
My business is my business, and I think it's the same for other people, too.
I quite agree.
I think we're going to get along just fine.
I hope so. Perhaps I should caution you about certain members of the household.
Caution me?
Well, what I mean is that, aside from Miss Winters, David's tutor, no one has lived in this house for ages except members of the family and Matthew. Now, you may sense a certain hostility in my brother, but pay no attention, it will pass. It's just that neither one of them are used to strangers.
Oh, I understand. Well, Mrs. Stoddard, believe me, I'll do my best to keep out of anybody's way.
Thank you, that's fine.
Well, now, if that's all, I'll just go unpack and get to work.
Good. Well, perhaps there's one other thing I should mention. The other day I told you about part of the house being closed off.
Yes, I believe you mentioned the east wing.
Well, there's also the basement.
The basement?
Yes, there's no need for you to go down there ever. In fact, I'd prefer you didn't.
Whatever you say.
It's just a storage area, and it's been closed off for years.
I understand.
Well, I guess you'd like to go to your room now?
Well, I would like to unpack.
Well, I'll show you where it is.
You said it was the third door to the right?
Yes.
Oh, you don't have to show me. I can find it myself.
David!
Yes, Aunt Elizabeth?
Come downstairs, please.
All right.
David, this is Mrs. Johnson, our new housekeeper.
I know. We already met.
Oh?
Oh, it was at the hotel coffee shop. I often go there for a cup of coffee.
What do you want to work here for?
David, you're being very rude.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't mean it the way it sounded. Now, I'll just get unpacked and be right down.
Fine. David, please come into the drawing room with me.
Okay.
David, I will not allow you to be rude to people.
Do I have to apologize to her again?
Again.
The first time I met her, she was saying mean things about Burke Devlin. And I told her to shut up, and Burke made me apologize.
Well, for once, Burke was right.
Is she going to be my jailer?
Don't be silly. Of course she's not going to be your jailer. She's going to be our housekeeper.
Does she know about the ghosts?
There are no ghosts. And, David, I will not have you trying to frighten people by telling them about these foolish things.
I won't have to scare her. They will if they don't want her to stay here. You'll see.
David.
What are you doing?
Don't creep up on me like that.
Did you think I was a ghost?
Stop that kind of talk.
Did you?
I don't talk about such things.
Why not? Because you're scared of ghosts?
Because I don't like crazy talk.
Matthew, do you like her?
Oh,
Her! Mrs. Johnson.
I don't know her.
I don't know her either. But I don't like her. She looks mean.
Your Aunt Elizabeth wants you to be nice to her, so you be nice to her.
I don't know. Maybe I should try.
You should try to do everything your Aunt Elizabeth wants you to.
Not because of Aunt Elizabeth, because of my best friend. My best friend likes her. So maybe I should try to like her too.
That's right.
David! Oh. There you are. I've been looking all over for you.
Why?
Well, I fixed your lunch. Mrs. Stoddard asked me to before she went on her walk.
I never eat lunch on a tray. I usually eat in the dining room or in the kitchen.
Well, I thought you might like a little change. I fixed you a ham sandwich. Mrs. Stoddard says that that's your favorite.
Thanks.
See, you don't spill.
I won't.
Look at this. What is this?
A crystal ball.
What do you see in that?
Nothing right now. But sometimes it tells me things.
Oh, what kind of things?
I can't tell you. They're secret things.
I'll bet you know a lot of secrets.
I do.
You know, when I was your age, I knew a lot of secrets, too.
Did you?
Oh, yes. There was this deserted house down the road from where we lived. And I used to go in there in rooms that nobody ever went into. And I always called them my secret rooms.
There's secret rooms in this house, too.
Oh? In the attic?
Yes.
And in the east wing.
Yes.
And in the basement.
There, too.
What do you see in those rooms?
If I told you, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. But I've seen things. Things that if you knew about them, they'd scare you.
Oh, you're just trying to frighten an old lady.
No, I'm not. I really have seen things. Do you believe in ghosts?
Do you?
I asked you first.
No, I don't.
You will. Just wait and see.
Is that what you see in those rooms? Ghosts?
Ghosts and other secret things.
Shame on you for trying to fool me.
I'm not trying to fool you. You'll wait and see.
I'll bet there's nothing in that east wing except a lot of dusty rooms, and nothing in the basement except old furniture and trunks with old clothes in them.
There's more. Lots more.
David,
Now who's creeping up?
take your tray at the kitchen. You're making a mess.
I'm not making a mess.
Do as I say.
All right.
Well, if you're going to talk about mess, that mess at the fireplace that you've made is the real mess. I have to clean that up before Mrs. Stoddard gets back.
Miss Johnson,
Yes?
what were you asking the boy questions for?
Questions? I was just making
We
conversation.
don't like people asking questions around here. You better remember that.
Well, I told you I was just talking to the boy. Are you giving me orders? I take my orders from Mrs. Stoddard.
I'm not ordering you. I'm warning you. Don't ask any more questions. You'll be sorry if you do. Miss Stoddard,
Yes, Matthew?
I finished checking the grounds. Is there anything else you want me to do?
No, it's late. Go to bed.
Is everybody in?
Well, Carolyn got in a little while ago.
And I'll lock up for the night.
I'll see you in the morning.
Miss Stoddard,
What is it, Matthew?
I got to speak to you. It's important. It's about her, that Miss Johnson.
What about Mrs. Johnson?
Don't think you can trust her. You can't.
What makes you say that?
I came in here this afternoon and caught her asking David a lot of questions. Questions about the house.
What kind of questions?
She wanted to know what was in the locked up rooms in the basement.
In the basement?
She's poking her nose in where it's none of her business.
Well, everyone is curious about this house. It would be strange if she weren't. I see that no reason that would make her not trustworthy.
It does to me. I don't like people coming around here asking lots of questions and meddling where they shouldn't meddle.
You don't like Mrs. Johnson, do you?
No, I don't. I don't trust her. You'd be wise to feel the same.
Mr. Malloy trusted her implicitly. That's good enough for me.
Keep an eye on her. I'm telling you that for your own sake.
Is that what you wanted to speak to me about?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then I'll say good night. I'm very tired.
Good night.
didn't I?
You certainly did. What on earth are you doing prowling around down here at this time of night?
I have my reasons. What are your reasons?
I heard a noise and I came down here to see what it was. It was probably you. Is there a light here anywhere?
It's up there.
Oh, yes. That's a little better anyway. Now, what are you doing down here?
I came to see a ghost.
Nonsense.
It's true. I saw in my crystal ball that a ghost was to appear tonight.
Well, I saw in my crystal ball that you better be upstairs and asleep in 10 seconds if you know what's good for you.
Is it going to be good for you if my Aunt Elizabeth finds out that you've been down here? She told you not to go near the basement.
Why, I don't recall her saying any such thing.
Oh, she must have. She tells everybody that.
Well, I have a good reason to be here. I heard a noise and I came to investigate. It's as simple as that.
Is it?
Look, I don't have to stand here and give explanations to you, young man. Just march yourself right up to bed.
You know, I might not tell my Aunt Elizabeth that you were down here.
Why not?
Because you're a friend of Burke Devlin's.
Well, what a strange thing to say. What gave you that idea?
He likes you. He told me to be nice to you. He even made me apologize to you.
Well, that doesn't mean anything. You heard what I said to him the other day when I told him that if it wouldn't be for him, that Mr. Malloy would still be alive.
Well, you may have said that, but I don't think you meant it.
Why?
Because Burke didn't get angry. And if you had meant it, Burke would have been angry.
Well, this is not the time or the place to discuss Burke Devlin. Now, you just get up to bed.
Burke could have sent you here. You could be spying for him.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life.
If you are, I don't care. I'm even glad. Burke's my friend, and he's out to get my father. And I hope he does. Because I hate my father. And I hope he dies.
What a terrible thing to say.
I'll make a bargain with you.
I don't make bargains with little boys.
If you don't tell that I was down here, I won't tell that you were down here.
I told you I don't make bargains. Now, it's way past your bedtime. Just go right up to bed.
But I haven't seen the ghost yet.
David, I mean it. I said to bed right now.
Okay. But remember what I said. I'll stick to my part of the bargain, if you'll stick to yours.
Who is it? Who is it? Who's in there? Who's in there?
Stay tuned for Where the Action Is next on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.